Okay, for homeschool conversations today, we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, you have 4 kids.
Yes.
And how many of them you feel like are homeschooling, or are you of the mindset everybody's homeschooling?
So I'm kind of everybody homeschools.
Okay.
Of course, you have different levels. I have a 1-year-old, 3-year-old, 6-year-old, and 14-year-old. A 14 is going to high school this year,
Ooh.
So we're beefing up for her.
Okay.
My 6-year-old is starting kindergarten this year. He's 6.5, so we're doing kindergarten a little later. And then my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old are kind of doing what I call baby school. Preschool, we do like learning games, learning toys, that kind of stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
So what's been one of your concerns or challenges starting into high school?
So I don't really feel like I have one high school specific.
Okay.
My challenge with homeschooling period is the balance between schedule and flexibility.
Yeah.
Which I think we even talked about before. Do you do a time schedule? Do you do schedule blocks? Like how much time am I, with my oldest child? Do I schedule out for her? Do I just give it to her and let her schedule it? That's where every year I'm like, yeah. What about you guys? I know you've been homeschooling forever. You have a billion kids.
And interestingly, that's about life too.
Yeah.
I mean, homeschool, but even as I think of managing work and all the different things of life, I was just thinking about this yesterday, because now that we're off summer and kind of getting in, I'm thinking I need a schedule.
Yeah.
And then I think, man, I love being flexible.
Yeah.
Same. So yes, both of those are true. I do think structure is important.
Yes.
It keeps us focused. It keeps us disciplined.
Yeah.
It keeps us doing things that we don't feel like doing. Flexibility sometimes turns into, I don't really feel like doing that right now. And I think I've seen in homeschools a bit of some extremes.
Yeah.
Right? Some homeschools really turn into, we're not really doing anything. And not very many people admit it.
Yeah.
But every once in a while it bubbles out. We're not really doing much.
Yeah.
And, in the end, we can say that's okay in some ways for some seasons.
Yeah.
But then in the long term, we need to say, that's not our goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Our goal is to prepare our kids for what God has for them and for life, and doing nothing probably isn't doing that.
That's not it, yeah.
So, but then the other side is, man, flexibility is so good.
Yeah.
So I would say that the middle ground is to have a loose structure, right? Where you at least have some things that you're going for.
Okay.
And I think kids like it when they know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do your kids like it? My
kids
are always like, what's for breakfast?
I know.
What are we doing tonight?
Yeah.
Who's coming over? They want to know. And so if you say, here's the plan, they're like, okay, I can go to sleep tonight.
And my son, Jago, that's his personality. He likes to know what's happening, what's coming next. I mean, he wants to know what's happening next Tuesday at 7:00. And I have to be like, dude, one day at a time, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a mental preparation.
Absolutely.
So I think that's helpful. Let's have a plan.
Okay.
But let's do 2 things with that plan. Number 1 is it's a very realistic plan that has space in it.
Yes.
And number 2, we can change the plan.
Yeah.
And that's not a failure.
Yeah.
It's an adjustment for the needs of the day.
Which is also a skill we want to give to our kids too, right? Because you have to learn how to be flexible or adaptable, because things happen. So yeah, that's I'm planning the school this schedule, and I had my first one, which was all the times. Yeah. And I sat there and I looked at it and just prayed over it, and I felt like
10:03.
Yeah.
10:07.
And then about 6 minutes for transition, because that's just a bit of a controlness in my personality. Yeah. And I remember when I did a little bit of preschool last year, because I do like to have that one-on-one time with all my kids, even when they're babies. So baby school, my 1-year-old, he doesn't walk yet. And although I am not forcing him to walk and I want him to wait, I do spend a little time every day with his little walker, and we spend time with the blocks, not little baby stuff. But either way, last year for preschool, I had one of those schedules where it was like, okay, I'm going to do like 4 minutes of yoga with Nova, and then we'll read a book for about 3 minutes, and then we'll do the piano for like 7 minutes, because I know she needs no more than 20 minutes. And then I'm like looking at my clock and my timer constantly, and I'm like, I don't even think I'm enjoying the children at all, because I'm just so focused on my schedule. So I'm like, okay, that's my,
And what I like about what you were doing though is being intentional.
yeah.
Like, I'm going to think of a variety of things. I'm going to set time aside
Yeah.
to do that. That's the good part of that.
Okay.
It's really good. And I'm thinking through that. Like, here are the different things I want to do.
Yes.
And then just relax and enjoy
Yes.
it. And if you don't get to all of them,
it's okay.
It doesn't matter.
Because at least I spent some good quality time with my child, and I was still intentional in that time. So
that's right.
So yeah.
You can pick it up the next day.
Exactly.
Wherever you left
the
off.
next time. So yeah, so that's my big challenge. Now, what about you guys with your different ages of your kids and different seasons?
Mm-hmm.
What's your, I don't know, challenge or?
I would say similarly, as an issue of structure.
Okay.
Really is one of them in the sense that we just took Hannah, our fourth child, to college.
Oh my goodness.
And so one of the things that becomes obvious is this homeschool kid is going from not a lot of structure to lots of structure.
Okay.
And so one of the parenting questions is, have I prepared them for that? Is that going to be a shock? Or
okay.
Honestly, from what I hear, most students from homeschool kill it in college.
Yeah.
And they just walk into structure and go, got
All
it.
right.
No big deal. And I think that's because they're healthy.
Yeah.
And they know how to learn,
good.
and it's no big deal. Some kids, though, I think would be shocked. And so I'm thinking, as I have, a couple of high schoolers right now, they need a little more of the experience. And I'm just speaking not from homeschool in general, but from our homeschool.
Absolutely.
They need a deadline.
Okay.
Like, that paper's due. You didn't turn it in? F.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, you can do it next week.
Yeah.
Because that's how we are. It's just,
yeah.
And I think that's, again, the balance. Where's the balance of you have to deliver at a deadline?
Absolutely.
And sometimes that means, or what that means is, you have to learn to manage your time.
Absolutely.
And discipline yourself.
Absolutely.
And say no to this and pay for it.
Yeah.
If you don't.
Yeah.
And if everything is so fudgy, you just get to push it down the road. I don't think it teaches some of those things.
Yeah.
So as I'm coming into this new year, I'm thinking we're going to have some due dates.
Bringing down the
that are a lot harder.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean, especially for high schoolers, I think they need a schedule, but my general approach is you can make your own schedule.
Okay.
And I will approve it.
Huh.
So that way they're still taking ownership.
Absolutely.
And they're thinking, what order do I want to do my subjects in? When do I want to get up? When, and so there's some of that to where you have to manage yourself. Yes. And if you get your stuff done, okay. If you don't get your stuff done, let's look at your schedule.
Okay.
Or let's look at your management. Or let's look at the things that are distracting you. And you help them.